Many of the GOP presidential contenders are taking direct aim at Donald Trump's controversial immigration plan. But despite the criticism, some of Mr. Trump's proposals are similar to what other Republican candidates are backing on the campaign trail. How will immigration figure in the 2016 presidential election? Let's bring in Karl Rove, former senior advisor and deputy chief of staff to President George W. Bush. He is also a Fox News contributor. Karl, great to see you. Do you worry that Hispanics, because of Trump and his hard line on immigration, will view the entire party in the 2016 election, Republicans, with hostility?
I do worry about it some, but let's put this all in perspective. In Trump's plan, there are 7 elements that all or virtually all of the Republican candidates support: increasing the number of Border Patrol agents, reestablishing the strong links between the Border Patrol and local law enforcement, setting up what's called E-Verify. That would require anybody who gets hired in America to be checked in a database to make certain they're a U.S. citizen, prioritizing the deportation of criminal aliens, ending catch and release, where we take people who are not Mexicans, OTMs they're called, and if they get caught, they get released on their own recognizance. We would end that practice. We had ended it under the Bush administration. Obama began catch and release again, defund the sanctuary cities, and then increase penalties for visa overstays. Those 7 elements are pretty much, they're in the Trump plan, and they are adopted by and it's supported by all or virtually all of the candidates. There are, however, a series of proposals in Trump's plan that do create problems and controversies, and that's where the differences are between the candidates. Well,
I mean, look, he takes very dogmatic and strident rhetoric to the table, and for better or for worse, he's getting a lot of attention. He's leading in the polls among Republicans. He says things like, they gotta go, referring to illegal immigrants, and that doesn't seem to match what Americans believe. Let's put it up on the screen. This was a Fox News poll. Deport as many as possible, along the lines that Donald Trump is suggesting, although he says they all have to go. That's 30%. But look at this. Set up a system to become legal. 64%. That is anathema to Donald Trump. So isn't he running strongly against the general election grain?
Absolutely. In fact, he's running against the grain of the Republicans. In July, Gallup did a poll. 50% of Republicans said that people who are here illegally could remain, provided they met certain unspecified requirements. 18% said that they could remain and work. 31% said deport them all. Now, my suspicion is that 31% would be a smaller number if you attach to it what Mr. Trump also says, which is that you take children of illegal aliens who are born in the United States and you ship them out of the country as well with their families. They have constitutional right under the 14th Amendment to U.S. citizenship, having been born on U.S. soil.
Right.
And I think, we would have a lot of stories of, here in Texas, there was a series of stories about valedictorians of our high schools who would be forced to leave under
But you heard Trump on O'Reilly last night saying, gee, this needs to be tested in the courts, and he suggested it wouldn't hold up. It may be news to Mr. Trump, and apparently it is, that it has been tested in the courts.
It has been tested.
And it has held up, in fact, all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Every law student knows the case, U.S. versus Wong. But apparently Trump is oblivious to that.
Well, he says he has experts. It might be useful for him to put forward those experts and let them make the case for him. But I agree with you. This is a long-established constitutional right. Look, also, we get to the question of the wall, which is, we do need a barrier on certain parts of the border. But look, we have several hundred miles along the Texas border in the Big Bend area that are literally cliffs, 300 or 400 feet tall. Why do we need a wall at the top of those? There are parts of the Rio Grande River where we have 2 big recreational lakes along the border with Mexico. Are we going to wall off those recreational lakes that we have? Are we going to wall off the ability of farmers and cattlemen to be able to water their cattle along the border?
Okay. Karl Rove, great to see you as always. Sorry to cut you off. The computer's about to do it.
Not at all.
We'll be right back.